Well, it was another Tuesday night, and so it was another episode of The Flash, titled There Will Be Blood. Well, not really. More like, I don't know, bad CGI, inky, oily goop. What are you going to do? It's what they got to work with. And appropriately, more super zombies, which is appropriate because it's Halloween this week. And so this, I'm guessing, is the Halloween episode of The Flash. Now, this is another episode that, since everything it has the feel of filler because everything is building towards the crossover event for Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so every episode technically is filler, but they're doing them rather well. And this one is just pretty simple. There's build-ups for other plot lines. They've introduced yet another version of Harrison Wells, of course. Nobody has as many doppelgangers as this guy, but now we have this cosmic, dimension-hopping Indiana Jones type version of the character. And we get a little bit more of a clue at the tail end of the episode where he's hunting the Monitor, apparently. And we'll have to see what that's all about. And, could he be Eobard in disguise? You know, who knows? And from promos and stuff, they actually show him in an outfit that looks a lot like the Pariah character from Crisis on Infinite Earths, the comic book miniseries. And maybe that's the role he'll fall into in this version of the story. But overall, the dark cloud that hangs over is, of course, Barry Allen saw his own death, and it's he saw millions of different outcomes for this battle in the crisis, and this was the only one where everyone else survived. Was the one where he died, so he's just accepted that he's going to die. And that's the end of it as far as he's concerned. But the rest are, they're not so happy about it. And most notably was Cisco, who is just determined there's got to be a way. And of course, this is how they've always done it. He says, well, we're facing a threat, and we've got to find the solution. And so it stands to reason that he would do that, and maybe they're being a little too hard on him. But there's this case where the Indiana Jones Wells, Nash Wells, comes in and cuts a deal with them, saying that he needs them with help in him with his little mission, and if they are in exchange, he'll lead them to a potential cure for a disease. Now, it's a drug that apparently was something stolen by this facility, and I'm forgetting the name. I shouldn't, but I do. But they're saying, this came out of one of the previous crossovers where the Dominators were those aliens that were part of the invasion series. Blah blah blah. It's long-winded. Anyway, alien technology, and this cellular regenerative solution is in there. And so Cisco wants it in order to be able to use it to save the Flash once he's been exposed to antimatter. And he thinks that would save. No, it wouldn't. But he's thinking it would. Barry wants it because he's trying to... now, this is kind of the weakest part of it. But he wanted to offer... I think it would have been better had they just pursued it, that Barry was showing Cisco... that he can still save lives. He just can't save Barry, but that's the most important thing, and that they're going to try to save Ramsey, the really the only ongoing villain here, whose his death of his mother and his own fear of his own mortality has driven him insane to the point where he's become, this, I don't know, zombie master with his experiments with dark matter, and trying to save his own life from the same cancer that killed his mother. And so Barry has decided he sees potential for this guy, and if he saves him, he'll become a good man. and will go on saving lives, so that this is what they should use this solution for. And the usual hijinks they have is the comical stuff they go through, with which they do this heist to steal the formula, whatever it is. And Cisco fakes them out, makes them think it's already gone, but in reality he stole it so that he could use it on Barry when the crisis comes. Well, Barry finds out, and to Null, and he says, "I'm trying to train you to take over from me when I'm gone." Now, the idea that Cisco needed any training at this point, he's been, fighting alongside Barry as Vibe and helping Barry from Star Labs and all that sort of thing. He's more than enough proven himself. It's just he's not thinking clearly because of his, love for Barry and wanting to save him. And so it's a bit of a forced outcome here, but then again, you could chalk it up to that Barry's being emotionally blind as well, and his determination that he wants to affect the world beyond his own existence. He wants to set it up, which he can't do because he'll be dead, and he wants it to be a certain way and all this sort of thing. So I guess you could chalk it up to that, but it's like, come on, Barry, you gonna be this hard on the guy, But anyway, so Barry takes the cure, so to speak, and gives it to Ramsey. It doesn't work. So Ramsey, that's it. He loses his mind, and now he comes upon the solution that he has to kill people, and they have to be scared while he kills them, and that will recharge his cells and stave off the cancer. And this is what he does. As a result, he's creating zombies all over the place, and so the Flash and Killer Frost, confront him. And it's one of these things where Killer Frost, they keep diminishing her powers, where at one point she's fighting a zombie, so she makes ice brass knuckles to have a fist fight with the zombie. And then the next thing she does, what she should do all along, is she creates a wall of ice and imprisons these zombies in the ice. You make up your mind what the level of her power is. I mean, after they had that fight between her and her father, and they had their icicle bridges all over the place. It's like, come on, these are really powerful entities. And then the next thing, all she can do is make a popsicle to fight with. I mean, that's a problem. That there should have been some explanation that, she burns out, or she runs out and she has to recharge, or something like that. But it's never really stated. So. But anyway, that's what she does. Well, there you go. Zombie problem solved. And then after Ramsey escapes, all the zombies melt and turn into inky, oily puddles. So to be continued for Ramsey. Now they know they have a problem. And so Barry pretty much wasted that alien cure on this bastard. So he makes amends with his crew. Meanwhile, there's a bit of not much of a dust up, but between Ralph and Iris, because Ralph is also already in mourning, knowing that Barry is going to die, and there's nothing they can do about it. So that's basically what it is. Everybody's in mourning, and they're doing things to try to deal with it, to avoid it, do work to avoid it, what have you, all that, and that's all well and good. And, of course, there's an emotional scene between Barry and Cisco at the end, and, of course, Barry and Joe, who is essentially Barry's father at this time. Barry was very young when he had to move in with Joe, while his father was wrongly accused of his mother's death and put in prison. So there's a breakdown. He has to realize and confront, while Joe he's been the strong one and trying to guide the others of having to deal with this. And of course, he himself doesn't. So until then, he says, I can't do it. And it's, of course, and it's all very well performed and everything. And that's the strength of the show, is that this is a good cast, and they've developed credibility amongst them, that this is, a believable relationship and all that, and that there really is genuine love between these characters and all that. So that's all well and good, and delivers a fine episode. I can't say that this is, oh man, you gotta watch it, but for the overall watching of The Flash, this was a good one, and it carries the story as they're following it to the crossover, which after some of these that have been pretty good, the crossovers have always been really awful. And I just hope I'm very dubious, but you gotta give it some respectful, and especially since, you know, their flagship show, it started Arrow, he ends in this thing. And so hopefully there's some care to this instead of just the slapjob crap they've been doing, especially the Elseworlds one last. Oh, that was terrible. So yeah, hopefully they do a better job with that for this, after having some pretty solid performances here, at least in The Flash. I don't know about the other shows because, as I've stated before, I gave up on them. So anyway, there you go. There will be, well, blood, but again, inky globs of oil. Thank you for watching again. Please like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That will take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies.